Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, your very kind attention now for His Excellency Sabit Ali, the Ambassador of the Republic of South Sudan.
Excellencies, High Commissioners and Ambassadors, my lords, honorable members of Parliament, members of the business community, colleagues from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, fellow South Sudanese citizens resident in the UK, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before I make my formal remarks, I would like to take a moment to recognize and introduce to you one of our veteran freedom fighters who led the first war for the liberation of South Sudan, and who later became the President of the High Executive Council, and later on as the Vice President of the Republic of the Sudan when we were still one country. He is here with us today. His name is Joseph Lago, General Retired Joseph Lago. He is right here. If you don't mind, if you can stop. Right now, he is the senior advisor to our president in South Sudan. Thank you, General, for coming. Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely delighted and honored to welcome all of you today to celebrate with us the second independence anniversary of the Republic of South Sudan. South Sudan gained its independence on July the 9th, 2011, after the successful conduct of an internationally supervised, free, fair, and transparent referendum in which 98.2% of our population voted for secession from the Sudan. On behalf of the government of South Sudan, and on my own behalf, I would like to extend our sincere appreciation to you all for joining us on this auspicious and historic occasion. As we celebrate this important and historic day, it is imperative that we pay tribute to our comrades who paid the ultimate price for our freedom. Among these heroes and heroines was a founding member and leader of the SPLM-SPLA, the late Dr. John Garang Dimabio, who died in a plane crash on July 30th, 2005. It must be remembered that in our long struggle for liberation, spanning 4 decades, South Sudan lost over 3 million lives of its people, and property, infrastructure, and the economy were completely destroyed. On this day, it is also prudent for us to take stock of what we have achieved in the last 2 years and what needs to be done in the years ahead. But 2 years is certainly too short a time for a realistic assessment of our country's achievements. Moreover, the last 2 years, especially the last 1 year, have been very difficult for the country. Oil, which is our main source of revenue, was shut down due to a dispute with our northern neighbor, the Sudan, over transit fees. This dispute was not resolved until a few months ago, and oil production resumed in April of this year. It is our hope that oil will continue to flow without any more interruption, as doing so would spell difficult financial times, not only for South Sudan, but also for the Republic of Sudan. With the stoppage of oil production, beginning from 2012 up to April 2013, and the consequent institution of austerity measures, the government had to reduce spending by 40%, resulting in scaling down and postponing some development programs and projects. The adoption of austerity measures also necessitated prioritization of the government's socio-economic development agenda, as the government had to now rely on only revenues from non-oil sources. And I want to note here that during this period, the government was able to increase generation of revenue from these non-oil sources from 7 million to 100 million South Sudanese pounds a month. In spite of these financial difficulties and using the meager resources at its disposal, the government has been able to make some significant progress in a number of areas. In his public address on Independence Day, the President of the Republic highlighted some of the most important achievements of the government in the last 2 years. These included the enactment of several pieces of legislation ranging from the Banking Act, the General Education Act, the Mining Act, to the Agricultural Act. Other bills will soon be enacted into law, and these include 8 human rights bills, the Right of Access to Information Bill, the Media Authority Bill, and the Information and Broadcasting Bill. In the area of telecommunications, mobile telephone networks have been extended to most remote areas of South Sudan, thus easing the difficulties of communication. In the oil industry, the Bentiu refinery will be inaugurated next month, while the Thiang Rial refinery will be commissioned early next year. Alternative routes for export of oil to international markets are in the works. Work on the constitutional review is on track, and the National Election Commission has started making plans and preparations for the upcoming general election in 2015. The National Statistics Bureau is busy on making arrangements for the conduct of the population census to precede the elections. With the support of its development partners, the government has just completed the building and tarmacking of the Juba-Nimule Highway, which links South Sudan with Uganda, and by extension to other East African countries. Contracts have been signed for the construction of a new bridge across the River Nile in Juba and for the improvement of Juba International Airport. In the energy field, contracts have also been secured for the construction of hydroelectric power station at the Fulada Place. In the areas of education and health, government has been able to build a number of schools and health facilities where none had existed before. School enrollment in the last 2 years has increased significantly, and a sizable number of our citizens now have access to some medical treatment. Although the government has made progress in its efforts to build this new country, which has been devastated by decades of civil war, the country still faces daunting challenges. Intercommunal conflicts and cattle rustling are still prevalent in 1 or 2 places in the country. The Yao Yao militia, supported by those who are not happy with their independence, continue to cause insecurity and instability in Jonglei State. Relations between South Sudan and Sudan continue to be sour over the issues of our common border, disputed and claimed areas, and above all, the status of Abyei. There are challenges facing the country related to weak institutions, lack of capacity, and a rise in petty crime rates, a phenomenon which is not uncommon to states emerging from conflict. The President, in his independence anniversary speech in Juba, reiterated the government's commitment to address these challenges in accordance with the government's program of action. On the question of insecurity, the President reiterated his call to Yao Yao and the other militia groups to heed and respond positively to the amnesty declared recently by the government in order to bring to an end the senseless killing of innocent civilians. On relations with Sudan, President Kiir reaffirmed the government's willingness to resolve all the disputes peacefully using the mechanisms embodied in the cooperation agreements of 2012. Regarding corruption, the President had this to say, that corruption will no longer be tolerated and that those implicated in corrupt practices will face the full force of the law. On the economy, the President expressed the government's determination to shift from total reliance on oil to diversifying the country's economy by developing its agriculture, mining, tourism, and infrastructure sectors. Overall, the President expressed optimism in the realization of government's vision of building a democratic and prosperous nation which will preserve peace and security and uphold the principles and values of good governance, the rule of law, and respect for the rights of citizens. But the President also cautioned that state building is a long process which requires patience and the efforts of many. So, what South Sudan needs now is the support and encouragement of those who wish us well, and not the sensational negative coverage which we often hear and read in some quarters and media outlets. Regarding relations with Britain, I'm happy to note here that South Sudan and the United Kingdom enjoy very cordial bilateral relations, and these relations date back to history. The UK has been and continues to be supportive of developmental efforts in the new country, particularly in areas such as reform of the National Army, the police, the legal system, human rights, humanitarian assistance, health and education. The United Kingdom and other stakeholders continue to be instrumental in supporting efforts to resolve peacefully the ongoing disputes between South Sudan and Sudan. To that end, I would like to seize this opportunity to sincerely thank the government of the United Kingdom and its people for all the support and assistance that they have rendered and continue to provide to our country and citizens. I would also like to use this opportunity to call upon the business community in the United Kingdom to take advantage of the business and investment opportunities in our country. South Sudan is endowed with abundant natural resources ranging from oil to minerals, gas, livestock, fisheries, tourism, agriculture, name it. Most of these resources remain largely untapped. Now, before I conclude, let me just take a moment to address our citizens who are residing in the UK. Fellow citizens, I want to thank you for coming here to celebrate your independence. You have played a key role in our liberation struggle, and it was due to your collective and concerted efforts and struggles through public advocacy that we are able to achieve the freedom that we enjoy today. I want to urge you to continue to support your country by bringing home the skills, knowledge, resources that you have acquired in the UK, so that together we can wage the next war against underdevelopment, poverty, hunger, disease, and ignorance. I thank you all for listening, and may God bless South Sudan. Before I leave the stage, could I ask you to fill your glasses and join me? Please join me in proposing a toast to Her Majesty the Queen and for the good relation that exists between South Sudan and the United Kingdom. To the Queen. Queen. And to the President of the Republic of South Sudan, General Salva Kiir Mayardit. To the President. President.
I believe this month.
Yes, it did last year because we opened the embassy in I think May. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.